Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to have a look at the Walther PPK and this is made by Umarex. This is the very first historical replica in BB form that Umarex made. This was in 1993 after gaining the rights from Carl Walther, and through book and film it's also become extremely popular with a certain Mr. Bond 007. This particular model is CO2 powered and fires 4.5mm steel balls through a smooth non-rifled barrel. Two manuals are supplied and clearly laid out and easy to follow. They not only go through the operation of the gun but also give you a very comprehensive parts list. Information regarding the care and maintenance of the gun is also included. The original version of this pistol was first introduced in 1929 and this was known as the Walther PP pistol. Later came the scaled down version known as the PPK, Polizei Pistole Klein, which in turn stands for small police pistol. The box set is very basic, only includes the pistol and magazine and also a special key for the CO2 cartridge. We can certainly improve on this setup, so let's try again. Now that's more like it, a proper case to put this wonderful iconic weapon in, CO2 cartridges, plenty of ammunition and 2 magazines. Before we get into the video, I'm just going to run through all its specifications including its price. I purchased this gun for £102 but it retails up to £125. Sometimes you can get it just under £100 if you're lucky. This is a single action pistol. Apart from the grips and the magazine, has a full metal construction. This is CO2 powered and has a blowback mechanism and fires 4.5mm BBs through a smooth non-rifled barrel. The magazine can hold up to 15 rounds, of which the CO2 cartridge can fire 45. I measured the projectile velocity at 285 feet per second. A closer look at the gun allows us to enjoy the sleek lines and the attention to detail that Umarex have afforded this wonderful gun. The Walther logo is in clear view on the top slide and on the handle grips, and adds to the authenticity. Most of the PPK is made of metal apart from the handle grips. This gives it a very solid and robust feel. There are a few subtle differences between this Umarex version and the original PPK. The safety catch on this Umarex version is situated on the right hand side grip, whereas on the original it's on the top left slide. This is moulded into place and just for show, and therefore does not move. On the top slide there is some ridging. This not only reduces reflection but is also there as an extra bit of grip when pulling back the slide. Fore and aft sides are fixed and cannot be adjusted. This is a very small gun. It's only about 155mm long. I'm just over 6 foot tall and this feels wonderful in my hands. However, this would be best suited for smaller hands or smaller stature, as this will help with confidence. The gun with a fully loaded magazine and CO2 cartridge weighs 608 grams. As mentioned before, this is a CO2 powered pistol. As you look underneath the pistol there is a small gap with which to put your finger. Use this to peel off the plastic grip. This exposes the area with which to put the 12-gram cartridge. Place the cartridge in bottom end first. It should just drop in easily. Umarex very kindly supplied this pistol with a dedicated key with which to tighten it up with. This is perfectly sized and ideal for this job. However, you can use any Allen key. To ensure you don't lose any pressure from the cartridge, turn it like you mean to. In other words, when you've started turning it, just carry on with it and keep the same process going until you can't move the key any further. Then as soon as you can't turn it any further, remove the key and make sure you remember to keep it in a safe place for next time. Lastly, we just replace the plastic cap just to tidy things up and to make it more comfortable to hold. Then for personal and range safety, make sure the safety catch is still on. The stick mags take 15 metal balls. I have managed to squeeze 16 though, although it is a tight squeeze. The magazines are spring loaded and also quite fiddly to be able to load, and certainly require that you adapt some level of technique. I would suggest to do this over a bowl or a clear area as I've done here, so you can see where all the missed balls are likely to fall. Pull the magazine spring down and hold it with one hand. Then with a larger hole facing upwards, place in one ball at a time. This will cause an enormous amount of frustration if you just don't mentally prepare yourself for how long this will take or how many balls that are likely to go missing. You can offset the patience and frustration easily by the amount of fun you're likely to have when the process is completed. Slide in until you hear a click, and again make sure the gun is set to safe. Remember, it's safety first, safety last when dealing with firearms. Also ensure the magazine is running flush with the bottom of the grip. Now for those of you who are interested about stripping this weapon down, whether it's for maintenance or idle curiosity, make sure there is no CO2 and the safety lever is to safe. Make sure you've taken the magazine out. Now pull the trigger guard down. There is no button release, so all you do is just literally pull it. This disengages the top slide to allow you to take it off. The top slide can now be moved rearwards. You then lift the rear of the slide and then slide it forwards. This is quite fiddly. Some people prefer to pull the hammer back before they start doing this process. Just make sure when you do take it apart you don't lose any of the components. The classic is losing the spring. The spring provided by Umarex is not that strong, and depending on how much you shoot will need to be replaced at some point. At least you have access to be able to oil the necessary parts. Remember to use sewing machine oil or specific gun oil. Both the machining and the materials used inside are of good quality, apart from the spring in my opinion. Replacing the top slide is also quite simple. Please remember to always have the spring over the barrel before you start doing this. Position the slide over the barrel and then slide it rearwards. Then slide it forwards to lock it in place. Then return the trigger guard lock. Place your thumb on the hammer whilst disengaging the safety lock. Pull the trigger whilst releasing the hammer slowly. Then reapply the safety lever. Remember, we ensured there was no CO2 or ammunition in the gun before we started this process. If you're unsure about any aspect of stripping the gun down or replacing parts, give it to an expert to deal with. This gun has a blowback function, so let's have a look at this in slow motion. This certainly adds to the authentic feel of the firearm going off in your hand. Now let's look at the blowback in real time. You feel it as opposed to seeing it in reality. Mostly everything about this gun is completely faithful to the original, and that includes the short beaver tail at the top of the grip. The top side has a propensity to nick your hands if you hold it too high up, so hence for the slow motion demonstration I'm holding the grip a bit lower than normal. To fire the gun you first need to cock it, either by pulling the hammer back or by sliding the slide all the way back, therefore cocking the hammer. However you choose to cock the weapon would be the ideal way for you. Before you can fire this gun for the first time, you have to realise that it is single action, so therefore it must be cocked first, and then it can work as a semi-automatic, and therefore you don't need to cock it unless the ammunition runs out. Now to see what it's like outside at the farm. Hopefully it'll hit. There's a little bit of wind now, but hopefully it'll work. I paced this out at 15 metres, so I was surprised it actually hit the target at all. These plinking pistols are best suited to the range of around about 10 metres. Due to the design characteristics of the BB itself, it's not very well suited to wind, so I was genuinely surprised that it actually hit the target. It's nice to see the actioning on this. I don't know if you can see this well on the camera, but if I just go out a shot a little bit so you can see it more in frame. There you go. The sun came out, so I decided to film another slow-mo of the slide moving. The wind, as you can hear on the microphone, started to pick up, so I reduced the range to about 10 metres. The dull thud you can hear is the BB hitting cardboard. The ping is the target. You can see the wind move the trajectory of the BB in the air. Aiming at the target over there, which is 10 metres away. Hopefully we'll hit it. It's mainly a plinking gun this, so it's mainly for fun. Okay, so that's locked in. And let's give this a go then. So safety off. There you go. I really wasn't that bothered by missing some of these targets, as it was all about the fun, and that's what plinking is all about, which is a complete contrast to the target shooting I'm used to. Okay, now to my personal thoughts and conclusions that I've had about this lovely little pistol. This is well made, well finished and robust. This is not the most accurate of pistols, hence it only fires steel BBs, so therefore this is perfect for garden plinking. The authenticity of this is absolutely fantastic when compared to the original. The only thing that let it down for me was the actual grip, firstly being made of a cheap plastic, and secondly when you remove the magazine, because you're left with very sharp edges. Pricing I believe is reasonable due to the fact that most of it is made of metal. Knowing that you bought it from Umarex also leads you to believe that it's got a certain level of quality. This in turn gives you consumer confidence. I like the way you can remove the key from underneath the CO2 cartridge area, therefore not obstructing the gun's clean lines. Albeit a little fiddly to load, the magazine is actually very handy and it's well designed. I don't believe they could have made it any other way, as the gun is so small to begin with. Given the heritage and the history of this gun, it would have been a lot better to present it in a proper case, not the cardboard one it came with. In short, this is a must for any James Bond enthusiast or indeed a historical gun collector. This is authentic looking, reasonably priced and well made. I'd like to give a huge thank you and shout out to all the people who very kindly subscribe to my lovely little channel. I absolutely love and thoroughly enjoy making these videos for everyone. If you enjoyed this video or indeed have any other ideas about any other guns or anything else you'd like me to cover, then please put it in the comments below. I read every single comment and I will respond to every single one. Until next time, see you on my next video.